the Naturalist Dude here. In this video, we're going to talk about the importance of coming up with some creative ways to provide running water for your birds during the winter, especially over a freeze when some of those taller standing water sources are going to be frozen over. If you're like me, it's really frustrating to go out there and bust that water up or pour warm water on it. And when you have concrete or ceramic containers, sometimes those can crack with the changing temperature. So we're going to go into an alternative option for those of you who are interested in keeping your backyard birds throughout the winter, and especially enjoying those birds that migrate in, like the cedar waxwing, brown creeper, and other birds. So food is important, but when you're providing a high calorie, high protein diet to your birds, having a water source nearby that they can access is crucial. Here we have a standing water source for birds, and as you can see, it's frozen over where the birds don't really have access to it. And if you're like me, you probably don't want to play the game where you come out with warm water or, you know, a little chisel or something and have to bust up the water every few hours during the day to make sure your birds have some access to water. So the design of this is quite simple. At the base, I have just a simple water pump with a rubber tubing that comes up through the limestone rock that you can see here. And the reason I did that is I didn't want water splashing up out of the bucket, so I could keep this water source flowing both day and night. Having that consistency, I feel, is important for native birds. They can hear the sound of flowing water, and they know that it's going to be here each and every time they come, which is important, especially during the winter. Birds don't have a lot of time to play the guessing game if there's adequate food and adequate water. So when they can hear this water flowing, automatically they know this is a good place to come, and then you as the birder get to enjoy your backyard birds more consistently throughout the winter. So the basic design here is I have a 5-gallon bucket, perhaps a little bit larger, buried under the soil, and I've just got a couple of inches up above the edge of the soil so I don't get dirt and debris down in there. And I've got some bricks stacked so it can support the weight of this limestone rock that you see here. And so essentially the pump with the tubing is running through the holes. I had to drill a little bit of a hole in the limestone rock, which was simple, just got a bit from the hardware store. And the way I'm keeping the debris out of the bucket from, say, the falling leaves and twigs and things, is I have a strip of chicken wire, and you can kind of see that here. Got it exposed so you can see it's just standard chicken wire that I folded over several times, and that does a good job at keeping the larger debris like leaves and twigs out of your bucket. And essentially this doesn't have to be cleaned except like once a month or so. So you're only getting in here a couple of times throughout the winter, just to make sure that your pump is operating, it's not getting clogged, and it's functioning properly. And here, just for aesthetics, I have a base of rocks around the lip of the bucket, which it's all designed so that the water flows from the top of this limestone rock back down into the bucket. I have had to refill this no times. It's been very efficient at keeping the water in there, and so far it's worked out great. I've had a lot of birds so far, mostly species richness, not a ton of diversity. We've had brown creepers, tufted titmice, northern cardinals, chipping sparrows, white crowned sparrows, house sparrows, of course, those are everywhere, Carolina chickadees, blue jays. What else? I mean, that's the gist of it. But we've been able to enjoy these birds for a much longer period of time because they're attracted to this water source. And most everyone's familiar with some of the options you can get at your standard hardware stores, like the suet, your mixed seed. The mixed seed is good for a number of different birds. And then you've got your sunflowers here. I think you can probably see the sunflower mix up in my NetView bird feeder, and another suet feeder up there. And then in the background here, you can see I've got some Yaupon holly, and I've got some possum haw, which is it's good for those berry loving birds and provides some nesting and some safe places for birds to approach the backyard as they're coming in. And another important thing too is just kind of the different designs of bird feeders. Some birds prefer to land in the tray feeders. I get a lot of doves in there, mourning doves, white-winged doves. Some birds like to come up to the suet, and then other birds are more comfortable just coming up to that smaller feeder there with the camera. So again, the diversity, the variety of types of feeders and types of food, along with your constant running water source, is extremely important if you want to maintain your backyard birds throughout the winter.